part 79 of Don't Say Schwarzenegger. In this part, we're going to go over the punitive trial, which is the one day that was added on to the civil after we won civil, and it was proven that there was malicious intent in the crimes. So we are now on the second to last day of the entire trial, the punitive trial. And shocking, but William Joelson did not attend after he found out, well, everybody found out that they all four owe millions to all three plaintiffs. We found out from Shawn Driz that he spoke to William the night before and that William decided not to show up to court because he was at home crying. Oh, and Shawn Driz showed up late to court, and his father, Maurice, wore an old gray t-shirt and jeans to court. Great job, everyone. So as a reminder, a punitive trial is meant to punish. It's after we already prove and won civil, they, tens of millions of dollars they owe, but now this jury reward is meant to punish and to make the defendants not do and repeat what they did to another person down the line. And to start off, we find out that a vast majority of financial requests were unresponded to throughout the year of subpoenas and throughout this entire trial, where the judge asked every single day, where is it? And they kept coming up with excuses like, Tom Mesereau is on vacation in Europe and Robert Shapiro won't send them. Oh, I'm trying to get a hold of my accountant, all of this stuff. Most of their properties and bank accounts, all the documentation was not handed over. In fact, for Alberto, we asked for somewhere around 10 years worth of documentation, not asked, subpoenaed. And Alberto submitted bank records for 1 month. So one of the properties that I discovered from the get-go, once we knew William Joelson's identity, which was probably about 2.5 years into the case, so 2017-18, we discovered, and I have the documentation, that William Joelson bought a $1.2 million condo in the Beverly Hills West Hollywood area. And his name was on it. He bought it. He put a bunch of money down and he was living in it. Interesting thing was, this is so interesting because I noticed that all of the people whose names kept popping up later on in the case, to write letters of support to the judge and everything, they were all buddies of theirs. And we found out that a lot of these people were actually, not all, but a lot were present that night, but were never identified in time for statute of limitations, no criminal charges, no civil lawsuits or anything. And one of them was Alex Derville over there in the black shirt. That's Alex with his father, with the khaki shorts and the sunglasses, second from your left. His father is Bruno Derville, okay? So the funny thing is in the last few months, I went and looked up, again, I have screenshots of the documentation of this $1.2 million condo that William owns, but I thought I'd look it up again. And when I looked it up again recently, the ownership changed. Not like, oh, it was sold to someone. No. The ownership changed. William's name is not on it, and it actually says in the documentation that he's never owned it, that Bruno Derville has always been the owner. So that would mean that we can't sue and take that asset from William Joelson because Bruno apparently has always been the owner suddenly. I don't know how legal that is to change documentation like that, and it wouldn't be the first time that's happened in our case. Next, for punitive damages for assets and stuff, because this whole trial, this day trial, is all about financials. So, of course, we bring up Anabella Driz's trust that was illegally made after the lawsuits began. It's called the Anabella Trust. And coincidentally, a bunch of properties were slid into that trust and then sold for millions of dollars on top of it. Hundreds of thousands, like $176,000 paid to Sergio Siderman, the cousin uncle of the Drizzes, who I've shown many times, the guys on the yacht during the first week. So it's really interesting, but so at one point, my attorney got this thing wrong, and he said to the judge, because the judge brought up the Irrevocable Trust, and my attorney was like, oh, no, it's irrevocable, so we can't touch that, basically, I'm paraphrasing. And the judge corrected my attorney, and she said, and I quote, it's a revocable trust, it's not an irrevocable trust. I looked into it, end quote. We then bring up, the money that was paid out of it to Sergio Siderman, the fact that there were such huge checks being written and signed from Anabella's trust. That's, again, Jessica Alba's longtime current friend and longtime current employee. The judge also pointed out, the amazing Judge Susan Bryant Deason also pointed out that their luxurious Beverly Hills condo where the white powder pew pew bust happened, where all three Drizzes were caught with it, but then rewarded, not imprisoned. But that Beverly Hills condo, that huge, sprawling, expensive condo, was donated into Anabella's trust, and then it was sold for over $3 million, Anabella. So then at this point, our attorneys, they had brought in they hired a forensic economist to come in and testify because they had shown him all the financials that we were given, obviously not all of them, but the ones we were provided by the defense. And my attorney offered to have Tim Lanning, the economist, testify outside the presence of the jury. I don't know why he asked that, because the jury is our best friend, obviously. Like, it's justice, it's democracy, all that stuff. And the judge responded, and I quote, "Why would we do this outside of this jury? Why wouldn't the jury just hear this?" And then my attorney was like, "Oh wait, I agree." Which was the right decision, because we want all of this information presented to the jury who is deciding everyone's fate. So then next, the judge, who I like to call Superwoman, she was like, "So my accountant was like, I had my accountant figure some stuff out last night. And so she came with assets and stuff like that we didn't even know about from our attorneys." Or I'm like, maybe they knew and they didn't tell us, whatever. But like, I like to pride myself on knowing everything. And I didn't even know about some stuff that she brought up. So I love her. But the judge said that she discovered that there were foreign tax credits of the defendants. And she points out that nobody goes on vacation and gets foreign tax credits. You get those for business. And the judge also pointed out that no discovery was handed over for that. Then the judge lets us know that in 2018, a condo was sold from Anabella Nicole Driz's illegal trust for $1.2 million gain. Then Super Judge mentions that, this is from her very quick research, tells the court that in 2018, Anabella's trust had an earned income of $869,000. Then the judge says, "I picked up another sale of another property, not the Beverly Hills one. So now I'm wondering, wait, is that the Manhattan Beach house or is that the Pasadena one?" But whatever, the judge said, this is a different piece of property. This is all news to me and the other plaintiffs. Okay, so I love this picture of Christina Schwarzenegger and Shawn. It was taken on the Kennedy family sailboat a couple of months after this trial ended, and Maria Shriver posted this to her Instagram. Anyways, so the judge turns to Shawn Driz and she says, and I quote, "After you closed Wells Fargo account, what bank did you open?" And Shawn replies, "I don't have a bank account right now." And the judge says, "How convenient." So next, the attorney for the other plaintiff speaks up and he says that he's absolutely going to subpoena Sergio Siderman post-judgment because of, $176,000 and huger numbers and everything in and out of Anabella's account to and from Sergio is kind of a big deal. But as far as I know, he was never subpoenaed. It's been 3.5 years. We also discovered that Shawn Driz purchased a vehicle in 2020 or 2021. Alberto leased a car, and Alberto has no records of ownership of Blaze Pizza to hand over from 11 locations. And Blaze Pizza never stepped in to offer it. And Maurice Driz, that's Alberto's uncle, he provided zero financial documentation that was subpoenaed for the trial. And there has been zero repercussions 3.5 years since the verdict. So then our attorney asks, how can Shawn Driz afford a luxury Turks and Caicos trip 3 weeks ago? And Shawn yells, "Objection, objection!" And the judge says, "On what grounds?" And he says, "I'm not a lawyer, I don't know." "Objection?" And then he says, "I wasn't on vacation, I was on work." Were you? That's Sergio, Pop 710 over on the left in the coral-colored shirt. Sergio Siderman of the Sergio Siderman Law Firm in Sherman Oaks. I didn't know that you could hire people with zero law experience, zero law school, and on felony probation for a violent crime. I didn't know. But anybody who's going to the Sergio Siderman Law Firm should probably know about that. That's who they hire. Okay, let's continue the punitive trial to the next part. We're almost at the end, guys. Thanks.